I want to give you 7 reasons why you must call Jesus a liar, a lunatic, or Lord. I find these in John. We don't have to turn there right now, but I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. 7 reasons. First one is this. Jesus said, I am the bread of life. You will never go hungry and you will never thirst spiritually. Jesus talked about breaking off his body and eating his body and drinking his blood. You're either a liar, a lunatic, or something else entirely when you tell people that. Second, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Who goes around saying that? I'm the light of the world. Not just Jerusalem, not just Capernaum, not just Judea, the world. The light of the world. People you haven't even met yet, I'm the light of their world as well. Whoever follows me, Jesus says, will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. You know what Jesus is saying there? He's saying, I am always the answer. And if you know me, the light of the world, you'll always have the answer. Guess what that is? Me, Jesus. Either a liar, a lunatic, or Lord. He's saying, I answer everything. He says, I am, thirdly, the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. He goes on, he says, he will find pasture. You'll always find what you long for. Jesus is using the imagery of Psalm 23 here. You guys know Psalm 23. Some of you do. Some of you know it and don't even know that you know it because it's basically recited at every single funeral there is. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. The psalmist goes on and says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Jesus is saying, I am the one who leads you through that valley and to those pastures. I am the gate. Through me, you'll be saved. Fourth, he says, I am the good shepherd. And we like that language. We like Jesus with sheep. But he goes on, I lay down my life for my sheep. In other words, what he's saying is because of my death on the cross, you can be saved. My death means something to you. You guys remember that there were 2 other men who died with Jesus that day, the same exact way that Jesus died. There was nothing holy about the way that Jesus died. He died as a naked, common criminal on a bloody cross. Just the same way 2 other men died. And yet Jesus is saying the cross in the middle is different. My death as a common criminal means something for your life. He says, I'm the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even though he dies, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die. You hear what he's saying there? Do you hear what Jesus is claiming there? How many of you want to die? You really, really want to die. You don't want to live life any longer. Death is a scary thing. Death is hard for us to think about, that it could be at any second, any moment. And yet Jesus is saying here to finite creatures, us, his disciples, you and me, he's saying, you'll never die if you believe in me. Jesus said, 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other name by which you can be saved. In other words, Jesus is saying, Confucius, Buddha, Muhammad, Hinduism, Taoism, atheism, agnostics, American Christianity for the most part, all those religions mean nothing. I am the only way, the only truth, the only life. No one, not by your good works, not by your good deeds, not by your righteousness. Jesus is saying, by me alone can you see the Father. 7th, he says, I am the vine. Remain in me and you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, everything you do, Jesus is saying, is worthless. Without me, you're fruitless to the kingdom. These are 7 extraordinary claims that Jesus made. He leaves no room for us to say, he's a good moral teacher. He's a good guy. This is not a good guy. unless he's Lord. This is not a good guy unless he's the Christ. I want you to imagine if your kid comes home from school and says, hey, my teacher today told me that he is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no one gets to heaven but by him. I mean, you send emails to the school for a lot less things, don't you? Imagine if the teacher made even one of these claims. Imagine what Jesus' family was feeling. His brothers, they grew up with Jesus. Imagine if your brother was saying these things. I know what I would think if my brother was saying these things. I mean, I was driving past, Glasgow Church, and I saw my brother's picture on this gigantic sign up there, and I thought, that's Chuck. I saw my dad on there a couple of weeks ago, and I showed up at Christmas, like, nice picture, Dad. He just started cracking up. I mean, that's my brother. That's my dad. I mean, I've seen them in their underwear, I mean, put that picture up there, see what happens. Come as you are. But I mean, that's what the brothers and the fathers or the mothers were thinking here. This is Jesus claiming these things. He's not a good moral teacher if this is his teaching. He's not a good guy you sort of follow. He's a guy you run from or you run to. If what Jesus says is false, he's gone berserk he's on the same page as Bono says with Charles Manson. If what Jesus says is false, you might as well follow Charles Manson. If what Jesus says is true, he is fantastic. He is amazing. He is compelling. He is a game changer. If what he says is true, then your life now and for eternity depends on him.